Good afternoon, everyone. All right, reading. There's treasure inside. Over most of the regional rulers of pre-Inca period were conquerors in their place. A great emperor arose. This uh, dominion was called the Khmer Empire, but this was no ordinary empire. The Khmer grew to historical size and mysteries of Angkor, its capital city, become the staff of legends. Took one look at the picture of Angkor, and your imagination might be whisked away to the scenes of iconic Hollywood movies about lost cities full of ancient treasures. There is a reason for this. Angkor is where Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom were filmed. But it's not just fictional lost place. It was a real forgotten city, scrambled to a jungle, and the great strangler roots that grew over and around it after it was mostly abandoned for over 300 years. When I think of the lost city, I do not think of Metropolis, yet that is exactly what Angkor was. Angkor was the largest city in the world, its population near 1 million, which meant at its peak, 1 in every 1,000 people on Earth lived there. Land mass was the size of Los Angeles. Angkor had over 2,000 temples. Its largest temple, Wat, Angkor Wat, remains the largest religious center in the world, over 4 times the size of the Vatican Rome City. The engineer and architect design were agreeable more impressive than anything built in ancient Greece. It was not just a city in the jungle, it was an alphabet metropolis. It was you're a maze. Local call it Yasha the Harper, something, which it meant glory bearing city. The mandatory given to the city architect was to recreate heaven on earth. The city was literally constructed to mirror that what Kumar believed in the world of gods looked like above. The preparation that went into planning, building the structure of this incredible in scale, struggling in its detail. Now, every stone, every statue, and every archway was measured at an angle with significant intent. All corners of this place were mapped out and designed with special purpose. Along with their architect, legitimacy of the royal family was also carefully crafted, although uh, in myth. The early leading leaders created a legend that expand their royal bloodline and fabrication that daughter of immoral Magic King. It was from this union immoral blood that Kilmer kings claimed they had descendants. Their royal lineage was certified according to their clever and meticulous bonding. As the Khmer Empire grew, it searched control over trade with cultures throughout Asia. Its wealth became enormous, like the Pre culture. Not much written word to preserve outside of some stone inscription, but while counts of Pre seem lavish, the description from immense Kilmer were on a different level. Those visitors describe a tall golden tower at the center of this golden lion, guarded a golden bridge that stretched across the river to its entrance. The king wore many pounds of pearl around his neck, and waist and ankles and fingers were covered in gold bracelet and rings. He banished a golden sword. The king would leave the court and join the parade where elephants marched with tusks and gold. The king many wives, all holding gold ornaments, umbrellas, countless servants carrying gold vessels. The horses and the carriage they pull all shimmer in gold. Wearing gold was not reserved just for the king and his courts. They believed that each human body was a shrine. Wearing gold was an act of worship, a way of adoring the temple of a person's spirit. So people decorate themselves with much gold as they could afford. Gold rings were worn as pendants on fingers and even on toes. Gold rings were worn on pendants, fingers, and toes. In the preparation for the afterlife, the Kimmer were dressed in gold after they died. Yet the spiritual significance of jewelry led it to inhabitation. The king wore their jewelries to their cremation in the intense heat. Most of them was destroyed. For this reason, rings like ours that survive today were discovered, mostly hidden in catches secret ways within temple walls. Pilot resigned from the 8th century until 1431, and the city was finally defeated by Sims. Period of extreme drought and flooding following the remaining habitats were slowly forced to abandon the gigantic city and migrate elsewhere. The great city of Anchor eventually became quiet. The jungle and the strangle roots steadily grew, working their way up and around the bent city walls. Over the next 3 centuries, the once mighty city was slowly swallowed up until it was hidden for, from the outside world. On the eastern shores of what today is Vietnam lived a small, persistent maritime culture known as Kampa. Dating back the 2nd century AD, you can see a picture of our ring from Kampa on the following page. Kampa was made up of sorry self-government independent region. Those people held tightly to their culture and forged resilience through mature cooperation throughout the prioritize their independence and devise ways to cast and defend against their invaders. An outside influence because of this through the ancient ages, and even during the most of the reign of the Khmer Empire. Now, Trumpa culture was able to retain its independence while the Khmer conquer the other regions around them. Now, Kampa were almost always successful in their defense. Still, after many failures, attacked by Khmer in other part of the Kampa region eventually succumbed to Khmer rule in 1145, yet the victory for Khmer lasted only 2 short years before Khmer found its preference just to return home. Then, unexpectedly twist, the Kampa planned revenge. After a year of quiet preparation, Kampa's navy set sail and successfully attack and defend the mighty city. Anchor. The Kampa maintained control of the massive city for 4 years before finally leaving Khmer capital. Kampa returned to their homes and were never bothered by Kampa again. Well, I'm going to stop there. Hey, thanks for coming and reading with me. I'll talk to you guys all later. Bye now.